how will Robert Downey Jr. look as Dr. Doom? If you've clicked this video expecting a definitive answer to that question, well,
sorry to disappoint you.
If I had any actual insight into the plans of future Marvel projects, then I probably wouldn't be here making Gambit headsock videos. However, I do think it's an interesting topic to make an educated guess on. So here goes. When I first saw the news that Robert Downey Jr. was cast as Dr. Doom for the upcoming Avengers sequels, I was genuinely worried that I would be one of the few fans who didn't immediately go crazy with excitement, like the attendees of Hall H. But it turns out that many people online shared my reservations. Sure, we know he's a great actor, and yes, he will bring a lot of star power to the films. But most of that star power comes from being the previous face of this very same franchise, while only a fraction of it comes from his role as Dr. Dolittle. My worry being that his Iron Man fame might distract from the Doom role. Now, there's already a much larger ongoing conversation about Marvel relying on their own recent nostalgia and making creatively conservative choices in favor of box office returns. But I'm not here to talk about that because much better creators have already done a great job covering those points. What I'm talking about is specifically how he will look as the character. Now you may be thinking, Comic Stan, you dumb idiot, he's almost certainly going to be wearing the mask. You know, like the comic book character does. To that I would say, 1, calm down. And 2, yeah, but it's Chekhov's mask, isn't it? If a character in a film is wearing a mask, then they're definitely going to be shown without it at some point. Notable examples include Darth Vader, Predator, and of course, Mrs. Doubtfire. So, if we are inevitably going to see this Doom's face, then what does he look like? Well, when it comes to Doom's maskless face in the comics, there's actually 3 main versions and causes that I think will be the most likely contenders for being used in the MCU. In all of these versions, Doom was scarred by an explosion that occurred during a college experiment trying to contact his deceased witch mum in hell. You know, a classic college experience. Anyway, the first version is what I call Vanity Doom, in which he only received a small facial scar from the accident. But, due to his vanity and perfectionism, he considers any minor flaw to be egregious enough to warrant wearing a weird mask for the rest of his entire life. Some people like this version because it shows the audience the deeper tragedy of Doom's character. However, the problem with this version is that, once the mask comes off, he will most probably look extremely similar to, if not identical to, this universe's Tony Stark. Apparently, it's been confirmed that this character is not a Tony Stark variant and is the proper Victor Von Doom. This is based on Downey's appearance on an episode of the Hollywood Reporter's Awards Chatter podcast, in which he essentially said as much.
How can we not go backwards? How can we not disappoint expectations? How can we continue to beat expectations? And he brought up Victor Von Doom, and I looked into it as character, and I was like, wow. And I go, and later on, he goes, let's get Victor Von Doom right. Let's get that right.
Personally, I don't take these words as full confirmation, and Marvel do have a history of misleading fans before film releases with trailers. But, for the sake of this video, let's assume this is 100% organically Latverian-grown Victor Von Doom. He's still going to look a lot like Tony Stark. Marvel also has a history of recasting actors into new roles within the MCU, so you could say there's a precedent for RDJ playing a new character. But these were all minor enough characters that the similarities did not affect the story at all. The only time it's affected the story so far is in the Marvel's post-credit scene with Monica Rambeau and Binary, which itself sets a precedent for characters being recognized for looking like other characters. So, taking all that into consideration, and believing Downey when he said,
let's get Victor Von Doom right,
then I don't think we're going to get Vanity Doom. Next, we have a similar, yet different Doom. Same deal with this small facial scar, except this version was so eager to cover up the minor imperfection that he just couldn't wait for the mask to cool down. Like me whenever I eat microwave pizza. Anyway, the hot mask messed up his face even worse than the original scar, which is why we're calling this version Idiot Doom. Yes, the irony of this Doom making his disfigurement even worse because of his vanity is an interesting aspect for the character. But it also makes him seem pretty stupid when he's meant to be a genius of both science and the mystic arts. It's especially stupid if you've seen the Robot Chicken sketch about this very subject.
Dr. Doom, wait! The mask is on...
Which, now you have because I just played it. So that leaves us with contestant number 3, or as I like to call him, horribly disfigured in the original accident, Doom. For me, this is the best option because he looks far less similar to Tony Stark. It's a tragic backstory for the character, which could contribute to making him a sympathetic villain. He's not an idiot for going premature on the hot mask, but the original accident was still his own fault, so there's still an interesting irony there of him being disfigured because of his own hubris. And look, I'm well aware most of this is just my opinion, but I reckon I've made a pretty good case for my choice. If you agree, then please leave a like on this video to help it get to more people. But if you disagree, or you have a better idea for how they should present Doom in the next Avengers movies, then please let me know in the comments down below. And if you're interested in hearing more about comic book characters, then please check out the Comic Literate Podcast, in which me and my co-host do basically the same thing, but with swears included. Okay, that's it. Thank you, goodbye.